Hello, welcome to another session of the Change Exchange, where I'm welcoming my colleague Leanne Manas, host of Morning Live for, how long is it now?
We're going on for 15 years.
15 years,
Yeah.
And radio and MC and whatever, but we'll touch on all of that. Welcome, Leanne.
So good to be with you. Thanks very much, Ruda.
Thank you. Did you always want to be a journalist? You studied in London first.
Well,
and then how did that happen? Did you grow up in South Africa?
Yeah, no, I'm South African through
Yes.
and through. I was born here, I lived here. This is where my heart and soul is. So it's just been a great process. So when I sort of studied through a college which was affiliated through a London college. So it was through London Trinity. So I never actually studied in London. That would have been nice. It would be nice to add that to my CV, but no, unfortunately that didn't happen. But I did drama. No, I did. You're quite right though. I did study drama through London Trinity, and it was sort of a really a great thing to do, but whether or not it was a hardcore journalist that I always wanted to be growing up, the answer was simply no. That wasn't necessarily what drove me into this career, definitely not.
For many of us, that is the case.
Yeah.
That one thing leads to another. So what was your one thing? Where did you start? You started at 702?
I did. I started at 702.
Why? Just because you needed a job?
Just because I got an opportunity. That was it. It was an opportunity laid out for me on the table. I'd already studied. I'd gotten my speech and drama teachers. I'd literally finished my degree. I had an honors in English literature. I had a degree in communications, and I was a highly qualified individual with nowhere to go and nothing to do that actually interested me in the field that I'd qualified in. And I thought, okay, I am desperate to get into broadcasting, particularly if I could in some way get into sort of radio DJing or do that. So I was sitting at a coffee shop, and I actually saw, at that time, it was Aki Anastasiou. And he's still there, actually, at 702. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go up to him. And I'm just going to say hi. And I'm going to try and charm him. Luckily, it didn't take much charming, because he was very open to saying hello, which was great for me. And we chatted, and I took his number, and I phoned him, and he said, come on in. Came in, and he got me a job on the traffic desk, answering phone calls. And that was my foot into the door. And literally, if I tell you that my paycheck was not even worth the paper it was written on. Honestly, it probably it cost more to write it on that piece of paper than it was to cash it. So
and then someone told you that you have no aptitude for this. Find something else.
Yes, yeah, it was a while. I mean, I was working there for a while, and I'd sort of built myself up. So from the traffic desk, I kept those eyes open, and I was sort of clever enough to jump at opportunities. Whatever opportunity came my way, I took it. And if it was call screening, I'm there. Call screening, for those that don't know, when you answer the phone call at a talk show, you'll answer and then put it through to the talk show host. So that's what I was doing. If there was a position to read news or write news, I did that. And eventually when I got onto air, this was the biggest thing that ever happened to me, but it was the dead hours of the morning that I was reading, but that was fine. That's where you need to go to make,
I started in the middle of the night on
There you go. There you go. That was exactly where you were. And I was getting better and better, and I was doing it for a long time. People were telling me, you're sounding good, except for one person who told me, this is not for you. And that just happened to be my direct boss. And it was that moment where I wasn't asking to move from what I was doing. I was just asking for a little bit more. I just felt that I could do more, even though I was stretched, but I wanted more. And that was when I was told it just wasn't for me and I should find something else.
How did you respond? Because for a young person, that can be completely deflating.
Yeah.
And you can just say, oh, well, she's probably right.
Yeah.
I'm not getting this.
And that is the problem, because you're impressionable. And when it is your senior and somebody who you look up to.
Insecure.
Yeah. And you respect this person and you look at them and you take what they say very seriously. It took a lot inside of me to look at this person and understand that what she was saying was actually not true. And it may have come from a very wrong place. And I'm not even sure why it was said to me. But it was that point where it was a turning point in my life. Do I listen? Do I say yes?
And it made an impression.
You're right.
Because you remember it to this day.
Oh, it was amazing. It was like it happened yesterday, and it happened well over 25 years ago. but I still remember it like it was yesterday. And I remember, till this day, never putting my foot back into those offices ever again after that meeting. And it wasn't that I was fired. It was just what I was told. But I realized there and then, you're going nowhere here. You're going to go nowhere. You're going to stay at that desk for the rest of time. Picked up my bag and left and thought, I'm going to prove you wrong. And I did. I did.
And went where?
Well, that was when I moved on to, and luckily my mom actually helped me out. She knew somebody who was working at that time. It was Jonic Publishing, and they used to do news and radio for Classic FM, and they had syndicated radio stations that would supply news in those days to different, whether it was East Coast Radio. I'm not going to throw all the names at you because I don't even remember, but there were a lot of them. They did business news for them, and coincidentally, it was the same offices that Summit Television used to broadcast from, and that was a financial channel at the time, the only one that South Africa had. So I walked in and I saw this, and I got a wonderful position that I was lucky enough to get, doing writing on news and whatever I could back to what I was already doing, and that was where I sort of had the opportunity to see live television and realized, hang on a second, that is actually what I want to do.
And the first time on camera, can you remember?
Oh man, it was terrible. I was awful. I was really awful the first time because, and this goes back to my drama training. Now, I was trained in drama, and anybody who knows drama knows that you've got, already you see me on my hands. I don't stop with my hands. I don't know how to speak without them. And that's probably the drama training. But it was worse because it was my face as well. So I was asked to audition for an IT program, information technology. And I did this program, but I giggle at the thought of it. I hope that tape has been destroyed in the archives of time.
Were you completely over the top?
No, really. It was like I was giving a Macbeth performance of what had happened to the shares on the stock exchange, and they fell 1%. And it was like, I don't know how anybody actually saw that I had a little bit of ability, or maybe I just came cheap. And that's how I got the job, because I actually no idea how I got the job. But yeah, that was my first audition. But it actually took one talking to from the director at the time and said, can I just try something with you? Just do something. And he explained it to me. Then I went back on camera, and it was like I was a completely different person. And then I just got better and better and better, and I was allowed to make more and more mistakes and get better and better and better. And, that was my luck, yeah. And I got that position, and that was where I moved on from. It was nice.
How did Morning Live happen?
Well, that was after I'd been at Summit for a while, and then I did that program, and then I was asked to take over as an anchor, one of the main anchors of Summit, because I'd really moved and I'd really sort of found my vibe. I then went on to study economics journalism because they'd asked me to sit in the anchor chair. But to be honest with you, I knew nothing about financial journalism, and I said, guys, you know what? I'm not going to do you any justice. I need to know more. And it was from there that I went and...
So did you take a year off?
No, while I was working, and I didn't take the job to sit in the anchor chair. I went out reporting rather, and I said, let me get the knowledge first. So I did a financial economics journalism diploma through Rhodes University while I was working. And then I went out to company results, and I spoke to economists and found out about the movements of the rand and the movements of shares and the GDP and economics and company results and all of these things. And then I sort of began to grasp it, and then I started to do more and more anchoring and got more and more into it. And then I would ask questions that actually made sense, and people appreciated the questions I was asking, because a lot of people don't understand business and they feel intimidated by it. But the reality was that I was asking the questions that people were too scared to ask, but I really didn't care because I was genuinely asking them, and it took off nicely. And then I was asked to go and present 2 programs that they wanted to initiate at the SABC. Stephen Gagnon, who was also working with me, he was taken to SABC, and he took me along with and said, look, I've got someone who I think can anchor this. Can we give her a rehearsal? So not a rehearsal, an audition. Auditioned, and I got them. And then I moved across there, and I did 2 business programs on SABC 3, Business Update, Business Focus, one in the afternoon, one in the evening. And they were so popular, and they did so well, and it was great, yeah. So that was my move from there into the SABC.
How did you work with suddenly being so known? suddenly you walked up the stairs and someone stopped you and said, please, can I have a hug?
Yes, yes.
It can be disconcerting.
Well, it can be, but it wasn't, not in the business. It wasn't it had nothing to do with when I was on business. In business, I would be approached by guys who'd say, oh man, aren't you that girl that does the business? And my grandfather loves you. And I was like, and I was like out clubbing at that time. I was like, oh, thank you. That's so nice. Honestly, it was the moment my face hit Morning Live. And that was the end of that. It just, you became a household name. And everybody watched that program. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing that people do. They accept you. They let you come into their living room, into the most intimate time and space of their day. And that is the morning. Sometimes you're the first face they see every single day of their lives. And that is wonderful, and so when people do come and ask for a hug and genuinely want it because they feel like you family, I mean, it's a privilege. It's wonderful. I love it. It's
actually a compliment.
It is. Yeah. It's a big compliment. Yeah.
You're often out in the field, and of course you do hours and hours live in studio. Which do you prefer?
I enjoy both, but for me, I love being in touch with people. I'm very much so a people's person. So, I love to go out and meet people and do a lot in the field, which is nice. But my adrenaline is when I'm in that studio and there's breaking news stories and things are progressing and there is no script. And the story is developing as we live. Because you cannot write the script. You don't know what is going to happen next. And you're covering the story. And as you're covering it, you're speaking to pictures, and you're speaking to events that are unfolding and news that people are giving you. And that is where I know I'm at my best. Is if you put me in a position of a breaking news story live in studio, that's where the best of me comes out. And I love it. Absolutely love it.
And lately, you've got involved in other things. I've seen Instagram pictures of you in a refugee camp, etc. Tell me about that.
This has, and I think I was telling you just before we started going live, was the fact that is the best thing that's happened to me in all this time and all the opportunities that have come my way. Being approached by the UNHCR, that's the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. I always get that one a little bit confused. But so it's the UNHCR that was approaching me because they wanted to initiate a campaign that was completely focused on the refugee plight here in Africa. And it's called the Luku Luku campaign. Something fun. The word means nothing, but it is completely adopted, invented, and loved by Africa. And there are different ambassadors in each of the countries. And I'm being chosen as one of the ambassadors for this campaign in South Africa. And we travel to different refugee camps on the continent, and we begin to understand the plight of the refugee. And it is unbelievable. It is heartbreaking, and it is one of the saddest things you'll ever encounter. But at the same time, is one of the most uplifting things you'll ever encounter, because then you really realize and understand the true resilience of the human spirit and how grateful people are. Like, you'll speak to somebody, they'll be sitting there, they have absolutely nothing, and you'll say, how are you? Are you okay? They have nothing. And they'll look at you and they'll say, you know what? Life is good. There are no bullets. No one is shooting at me every day. This is great. And you look around and you think, this is great. And then you realize how spoiled we are and how much all this unnecessary stuff that we filter in our minds and how we create unnecessary needs. And when you have the barest of minimum is when you actually realize what is important to you in life. And that is what I realized just
First
working.
World problems.
Yeah, big time.
It's not just a concept.
No, it's a reality. Yeah, it's incredible, really incredible.
And Kilimanjaro for the Nelson Mandela Foundation.
Yes.
And what? Caring for Girls.
Caring for Girls. So that was another initiative that I embarked on. Something I never thought I'd be able to ever accomplish was summiting Mount Kilimanjaro, and actually summiting Mount Kilimanjaro. Yes. Not saying I'm going to, try. I actually got there. I just thought I'd add that in. And that was just incredible, because I went into that laughing at whoever came up with a great idea of approaching me to want to do something like that, because I thought, I am not. Do I look like the kind of person who climbs mountains? And this is, if you can reverse back 3 years ago, where I certainly didn't. Since then, I've actually done a lot more than I ever in my wildest dreams imagined. But it was great because I discovered a new side in myself, and I trained and did whatever I could do to get myself ready. But I think fitness is one thing, but it was the mental strength that was another thing. And being able to get there and do it and not give up through that mental strength was amazing. And it was a massive learning curve. And anybody who's done it knows, that mental revolution that you come back having undertaken, incredible. It's a brilliant, brilliant thing to do if you can.
Why? What do you mean?
I think because you realize the strength of yourself.
You find a side of yourself that you didn't know.
Absolutely. I mean, I sort of walked when I came down, and when I got to the top of that, when you hit the summit, I mean, the whole way I was doubting myself. From the moment, the one thing that you realize is in life, you are Ruda's greatest enemy, critic and enemy. Leanne is my greatest critic and enemy, who always is telling me, no, you can't do it. You'll never be able to. There's no way. Are you joking? There's no way. I mean,
what were you thinking?
Yeah, what are you thinking? And this is you speaking to yourself. And amazingly, other people actually see you in a better light than you see yourself. And I think that was the lesson that I learned, is that if you can actually understand and allow yourself to reach your true potential, it is mind-blowing what you can do. And that was something that I learned there, not anywhere else. It was there that when you are pushed to the limits and when you want to give up and when you think that I can't do it anymore, there's no way that I can make this, and you actually do. You sort of look back at yourself and say, and I've never done it before until then. And I, actually say, geez, Leanne, well done. I didn't realize, well done. That was amazing. So yeah, I think that for me, that mental strength, it was mind-blowing.
You are one of the nation's darlings, but then there's someone on Twitter who suddenly says, you only get this job because you're white, and you're only hanging on because you're white, and you're not good at what you do, and whatever and whatever. How do you work with that?
You know what? I mean, I'm not going to say it's not I'm not going to say it doesn't affect you, because it does. It does affect you. You go out and you give your all, and you open yourself up, and you know who you are and what you stand for. And that in itself, I think, will give me the confidence to overlook and sort of say, oh, give me a break.
Yeah.
But when you see it, really, honestly, can we move on to more important things and things that actually are truthful? But the reality is that it does get to you, and then you eventually and I never, ever, ever respond to those kind of things, because I just think, you're giving people a voice that really don't actually deserve to have that voice. But I just see how racially charged we are as a nation, and I understand that. I am not living in a box. I'm living in the same country, and I understand it, and I see it. I see it every day with my own eyes. It's a living reality for every single one of us. However, when somebody judges you purely on the color of your skin, that's when you've got to put your foot down and say, you know what? Sit down, have a cup of coffee with me, come into my home, look at how I live my life, and then judge me. And if you still don't like me, or even actually don't even come to my home, just sit and have a cup of coffee with me. And if you don't like me, then with pleasure, but do not judge me purely because you look and see a white person and you hate me for being white. You know what? That's just life. We're all different, and that's what makes this world so interesting. So, that's where I think you got to draw the line, because you cannot live that way, and we will never move forward as a nation, ever, if that's the way we think. And if it is, then we must all just separate. And, we go and live here, and you go live there, and then we go back into this world that makes no sense whatsoever. But that's not the world we live in. So if we can learn to live with one another and truly understand each other, you know what? You might actually find heroes in people that you never believed would be your hero.
And when I looked at that Twitter thread, the other part of it, of course, is the support.
Yeah.
The people who came out and said exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Kind of, come on, get back in the box.
That actually amazed me, to be honest with you. That amazed me, because when I actually just responded. You know, when you do it, and I think a million times before I do, because I never respond. I will not respond. But this time I actually just thought, you know what, let me just put this out there. I wasn't being horrible. I was being genuine. I genuinely said, you know what, just know me and then hate me. But please don't judge me. And you might actually just like me and not the color of my skin. But the reaction was amazing. And I knew it could go either way, where other people could jump on the bandwagon and say, oh my God, you're actually right. I mean, I can't take her. She's terrible. And, you know, it's this whiteness, it's that, it's this, it's that, blah, blah, she doesn't belong, she doesn't deserve it, she doesn't, blah. But amazingly, it had the absolute opposite reaction. And people were saying, can you get over yourself? You know, I mean, really, will you stop obsessing with the color of people's skins? Let's just move on. Let's just get together. Let's get on. Stop being like that. I was blown away. So, yeah, which for me speaks the true feeling in South Africans. Because I think generally that's how South Africans do feel. But there is a small portion that fuel the anger and the hatred amongst us, and that, of course, you know, is a force that we need to work through. But nonetheless, to know the greater community want this place to work, what a feeling! It's good.
You also briefly had a shop in Sandton.
I did.
A gift shop.
I did. Yeah, I went into the retail world, which was another lesson. No idea. It was one of those moments.
It sounded like a good idea at the time.
It did. It sounded like a good idea at the time. And it was a good idea at the time. It was a wonderful idea. There was a gap in the market. But then we realized when we opened the shop why there was a gap in the market, because it was just not sustainable. You know, we had a brilliant concept. It was a gift store that you came in. We wanted to provide local goods that were very affordable. We wanted to give you that personalized service in a shopping center that was otherwise full of just international brands that were not local. They didn't speak local. We wanted to support local and make it something that you could walk in and feel, you know, okay, great. This is stunning. I've come in. I've got a great, and that's what we would do. Come, get what you want, go shop. We'll wrap it for you. We'll make it look as beautiful as we possibly can. You come back, pick it up, and you're done. You know, and that was kind of the service that we wanted to give, and that's what we did. But man, when at the end of the month it would come and every little last cent of money that you made went to paying the rent and the staff, and then there was nothing but zero left in the bank account, then you realized this is not working. So that was, we tried it for about 3.5 years, and it just, you know, in this day and age, unfortunately, and I think I speak for small business owners. The big guys, they don't care about you. They don't. Yeah. And it's a horrible thing, because there will still be that escalation clause. There'll still be the guy that's, you know, your big retailers. They're the ones that will pay nothing for rent. But it'll be the little guy like you, who is a family-owned small business running by yourself, that will be paying the premium for everyone else to be there. And I'm sure I'm speaking to a lot of business owners, and I commend people who do that, you know, but unfortunately, it just for us didn't work, and we were lucky to be able to get out of it. But it was a learning curve, a very good learning curve. But unfortunately, some business ventures don't work.
You're married to a businessman.
I am.
How did you meet Mark?
Well,
and how did the spark? How was the spark ignited?
We you know, I was waitressing at a restaurant in the beginning when we first met, and I was trying to get money to go and do a sabbatical overseas with my 2 girlfriends, and we were going to go for like however many months, and that was exactly what I was doing, and that's exactly what I did. But
before you started working?
Yeah, no, this was before. This was, you know, that thing after studies. You've studied, now you're going to go overseas and you're just going to have fun. And that's what I was doing. I was working to get the money to go overseas, went overseas, and I met him while I was waitressing at this restaurant. Nothing ever happened. I just saw him and thought he was really, really nice. And then it was only after I got back, in a couple of years, even after I'd got back, of lots of having fun and going out and clubbing and doing whatever I used to do, that I saw him out on the prowl one night. And I thought, there you are. I haven't seen you since those days. It's amazing. I mean, this must have been about 6 years later. And, I actually went up to him and said, my God, it's so nice to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. And that was it. He took my number and he phoned me, and we sort of dated ever since, and finally got married after that and had 2 kids, and here we are. Can you believe it?
So what's the connection? What is it that attracted you?
We are both we think so alike and are yet so different. We are completely different. You know, I am a Libran, he is a Virgo. I am all over the place, he is so straight and narrow down the road. But the reality is that we work. The opposite thing does actually work. And we both are working for that same outcome. We want the best for ourselves, our future, our children. We are both passionate about South Africa. We are both passionate about education. We're both passionate about building the best lives that we possibly can for ourselves and our family, and a work ethic, but at the same time, still enjoying our family and life together. And it's very difficult to actually get that mix between you as a couple, because it's very easy for you to, you know, get wrapped up in your own world and disappear, and then sort of meet up and then disappear. But
so how do you do that practically? Because there are only so many hours in the day,
Yeah.
so many days in the week. So
how do you do it?
how do you do it?
You climb Kilimanjaro together.
Oh.
You include each other in your lives. You know, I often hear couples saying, oh man, I just want to get away. I just want to go out drinking with the girls, or I want to get out with the boys and actually just get away from the family, or I want to go away for a weekend or whatever. You know, for us, it's about going away together. It's about bonding together. The Kilimanjaro thing, he came with me. We grew as a couple through that. And that's what we try and do. I'll never embark on something alone. If I can embark on it with him, I will. And that's our secret. It's the secret to, you can grow as an individual, but sometimes you grow so much that you grow apart and you grow out of each other. But we are trying to grow together. And that for now is where we're at, and it's working. And yeah.
And it's a conscious decision.
And it's hard work. And it's hard work. A relationship takes a lot of hard work.
I always say there's no it, as in it doesn't work.
Yeah.
There's just you and me.
That's it.
There's no it outside of us.
No.
It's just,
yeah.
We better make it work.
We better make it work. This is it. I don't feel like going through this again, if that's okay. But, you know, as it stands right now, it does. It works. But it's hard. I mean, there are times when you fight, and you know that as a couple, you do. It's normal. But you've got to give each other that space to get back together and sort of, you know, say, God, what are we fighting about? Seriously? I mean, honestly, and forget about it and move on.
And the children, how did they change you, change the dynamic?
The kids, and everybody says it, kids change you, and they change you for the better. They are just the best little things that have ever come into my life. I mean, they are sure. Wow, I didn't know I could do that good. That was great. They are just fantastic. So there's two of them. The one is 6 now, and the eldest is 9. And they're just full of love. And they're at that wonderful stage right now. So I don't have teenagers. I don't have to deal with that yet. It's coming. It's very close. So we're at that beautiful stage of molding these new little things. And I love them. Absolutely love them. I really do. They bring all the joy. They really do. They're incredible.
You're still very close to your family, your parents. And
yes.
What do you see in the way that you work with your kids that you recognize from the way your parents brought you up?
Very similar. Yeah, it's incredible. It is. It's like that book, that secret book that gets handed down. It has invisible ink. You can't see what's written on it. It just sort of comes in you. And then you sort of recite from that book, and then you're like, hang on a second, when did I learn those words? You know, and that is what your mother used to say to you. But that's it. I think it's, you learn from your parents, and your parents they mold you. And I was very privileged. I was, you know, I had both my parents. I still have both my parents. They are both, you know, they are married to one another now. They going on to, 46 years of marriage, 47 years of marriage. I hope I don't get it wrong. But I mean, it's incredible that I still have that example of a strong union and a strong bond. Kids have got their grandparents that they adore, and they are always there, and they are so hands-on. And I have that on both sides, you know. So I am so lucky. Nobody, you know, but I was always that type of mother. I wasn't the type of mother that had my baby and suddenly kept it like a lioness and wouldn't let anyone near my baby. I wanted everyone else to enjoy my children as well, because they give so much joy, and it's worked. You know, I can see the joy that they've brought to others, and in turn I can see how happy they are with these people in their lives that they have so close to them.
You've also shared the experience in a DVD and a book on
Yes.
the, what did you call it?
Well,
Antenatal guidance.
It was a book and a DVD that I worked together with a company, actually a beautiful company in Port Elizabeth, that put together an antenatal DVD, and it was all about the journey of childbirth, and from the minute that you found out you're pregnant until that day that you actually deliver, and a few months afterwards. So it's into the breastfeeding, it's into whether or not you have postnatal depression, or whether or not you look into whatever it may be, those kind of feelings that you not too sure of when you have your child. So it's, you know, up to there and after. And it was an awesome project to work on. It really, really was, just to educate people. And sometimes you'll find that moms, you know, as much as it was just in a book form, there was also a DVD. So you could sit and watch it while you were breastfeeding, or you're sitting with a kid, or whatever it was. So that was a really nice thing to work on as a project. Very, very
and
nice.
To share your own experience in that way.
Very much so.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It always is. And a lot of people that have seen it and had the copy, and they found it exceptionally helpful. And there are so many different tools to help you out there. But still, I just think it's nice to actually see someone and hear their story and realize, okay, I'm not alone. This is hard. This isn't easy. And we can get through this, you know? This is fine. We're good.
What do you want to teach your kids? What must they take into life?
For me, I want my kids to respect people, I think, more than anything. That was what I was taught from when I was as young as ever. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. From the minute I get out of my car in the morning, every day of my life, there will be whoever it may be, the person who is mowing the lawn, to the person who is checking my bag, to the CEO that I walk past in the passageway, to the person that means nothing in my life. I will say hello to them and treat them in exactly the same way. And I want my children to do that too, is to respect people. And in return, you'll get respect. And that is a fact. And then I think the other big lesson that I want them to do is to follow their heart. Not my heart and anyone else's heart, but to follow theirs, because there is no truer heart to listen to than your own. And that's, for me, the best lesson. I was allowed to follow my heart. As much as my parents wanted me to maybe go and study, especially my dad, something completely different. Especially, you know, he would have loved me to have been a speech therapist, or to have done something in a more professional degree field, as opposed to just being very general. He allowed me to go and do what I thought was the right thing to do. And I think that I may just do the same for my children, allow them to follow their heart, and may they succeed in life.
And tell me something about your physical space. Why did you choose the home you live in? Yeah. Do you go for big trees? Do you go for big windows? Do you go for space?
Security. You didn't add that one in. I go for security. That's probably the first thing. And then everything else that I love around that will come. So we initially had a terrible crime incident happened, and then wanted to move into an estate, which I felt was very, very safe, and sort of found a place that spoke to me. I loved it. It was free flowing, open spaces. To answer your question, I love open spaces. I love airy places, and I love homely places. And this is exactly what this felt. Even though at the time it was just Mark and I. And then as soon as we started, you know, having a family, it started getting a bit smaller. And then by the time we had two, it got even smaller. And then we thought, okay, let's look in the estate, see if we can find something else. Could not find anything else that we loved, and we decided to build on, and we did. Wow, and that was trying, but that tested everything. But the result is we really are living in a place now that is ticking all our boxes. We are so happy. It is everything we want, and we're very, very lucky. You know, we're safe. It's open. It's airy. It's bright. It's homely, and it has love, and that for me is a home. I love it.
Leanne, just to go back to that traumatic experience that you had, you were robbed at gunpoint in your home. I've always said I will never judge how anyone responds to that, because I simply cannot know.
Yeah.
I have not gone through that. It's like birth.
Yeah.
Many people choose to leave South Africa.
Yeah.
What influenced your response? How did you work with it?
Sure.
How did you find your equilibrium again?
It was hard. I mean, that was a tough moment. 2007, that's when it happened. It's 2007, and 4 armed gunmen in my house followed me into my driveway, the gate, sort of, the usual story, as everyone has the story to tell. And they came in with guns, took me to the bedroom, and forced me onto the ground. And it's a long story, but a happy ending story. I'm here to tell the story, and I'm okay. But to get over that was very big. It took a lot of work. I was absolutely devastated and traumatized by that. And funnily enough, did it enter my mind to leave the country? No, I don't know why. Maybe I'm stupid, honestly. And I do say that in all fairness, but. Maybe it was because I didn't have children. Maybe that was why. But it did not enter my mind. In fact, I just thought, you know what, this is a small element. There is better out there. No, this is not going to get me down. They are not going to win. And I clawed back my confidence. And it was less than 7 months later, I was sitting at a coffee shop with my very best friend. We were having coffee. And the next second, the coffee shop got robbed, as well as the fruit store next door and the butcher. 15 armed gunmen opened fire while we were sitting there, because there was a reservist who thought that he would try and stop the one that he saw, and then they all came out and started shooting. And I sort of fell under the table and jumped on top of my best friend, who was shot, by the way. And she left the country. She did. It changed her life. She subsequently is living overseas, and it was the best move she ever made. But again, I didn't have children. And that, I think, was a big step for me. And I worry every single day about their safety. And I do hope that something changes, and that maybe, again, I say maybe I am dumb, and I don't know how many more signs I need, but I am trying to make it work to the best way that I can. And that's why I think security for me is of utmost importance. But yeah,
Lessons that you took out of that?
Well, I mean, you learn your lessons, and you move on. You move on, and you believe that the elements. And I keep on emphasizing it, that the good far outweighs the bad. You've got to be vigilant. You've got to live consciously. Yeah, you got to live consciously. You've got to live in the real world. And I don't think that it's any better anywhere else. And I'm not saying that with blindfolds on. Is that you can run away and go live in another country, but that's not home. This is home. This is where I love. This is what I love, and I want my children to, and they love it here. They don't want to be anywhere else, and I don't want to be anywhere else. And the reality is that I am seeing positive changes in this country, and it is a reality. I mean, we're seeing proper changes taking place, and I do hope that it's not just talk, it's not just politicking, but that it is going to give us the results that we deserve as a nation. We've been through a lot as a nation. We are still a young nation. We are.
But we have been amazing.
We have, and we'll continue to be amazing. We are strong, we are resilient, and I just hope that my kids have the most incredible life, the life that I've had as well. It's been amazing so far.
From your lips to God's ears.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much for being with us.
It's a pleasure.
For taking time. And all of the very, very best.
Thank you, Rita. Great speaking to you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing this. Until the next time, goodbye.
Thank you very much. That was awesome. Nice, guys.